Wonder Woman has been cast, more X-Men in 2016, and the Warcraft movie might finally happen. I'm Brandon Kaiser.
Josh Jessen.
Brandon Kaiser.
You're Kid Kamenkel. We may not have Huey Lewis, but we do have the news.
That's the power of news.
Starting us off on a downer, Paul Walker died last weekend. He died in a car crash. He was going to his charity event. And basically what this has done is made Fast and the Furious 7 kind of halted. They don't know what they're going to do. They may just reshoot it. They may try to salvage what they have. And pretty much puts a damper on the Hitman movie that he was going to make. So, yeah. Sad times.
At Ridgemont High.
Alright, so Paul Walker, what do we think about that?
Sucks.
He died.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
terrible.
He was only 40.
What?
Really?
Yeah, well,
Holy
I
shit.
should say only. I always thought him as being younger than 40, but
Yeah,
He was that.
I always did it.
I mean, 40's not old. I just didn't know he was
40.
I saw him
Yeah.
as being like in his 30s, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
don't
me
know.
too.
But
Surprising.
yeah, I mean that sucks. I mean, Fast and Furious movies, for the most part, have been good. Lately, they've been good.
Lately, especially.
Yeah, lately they've been good.
Not
Running,
that I'm a fan. It's a shame that he died. Not that I'm a fan.
Too
but
Fast, Too
it's-
Furious was terrible.
Running Scared's a great movie.
Yeah, that was a great movie. You
I
saw
thought
that?
Yeah, I thought you did see Running Scared.
Probably did.
Yeah, you probably did.
I was probably drunk.
Yeah,
Could be.
that was before we
So, you know, it sucks. It's sad. It
What are you
happens.
gonna
But yeah, there's not really much we can do about
It's
it.
a circle of life.
I guess our condolences go out to his family and friends
So
and all that kind of
bizarre.
stuff. But other than that, it's sad, and
Did you ever-
hopefully this means we will eventually get Fast and Furious 7.
Did you ever think about how like the zebras felt when they were singing the Circle of Life in The Lion King?
Like, fuck you guys.
Like the lions are all like Circle of Life, and they're like, yeah, they fucking eat everything. The
Yeah.
zebras are like, fuck you, lions. We're totally getting killed over your stupid fucking.
Let me get to eat the
I
grass,
guess.
so fucking what?
So man, it's really great to be on top of the food chain
Yeah,
singing
yeah,
about the
yeah.
Circle of Life, but when you're the fucking gazelle, you're like, fucking asshole.
Second news story. Gal Gadot has been cast as Wonder Woman in the Batman vs. Superman film. She was the love interest of Han in the Fast and Furious series. She first came in 4, I think? Was it 5? Might have been 5. That's terrible that I don't know. I should have prepared for this. But anyways, I found it kind of odd that right after Paul Walker died and they halted Fast 7 work that this was announced. So guys, Wonder Woman, thoughts?
Wonder Woman, all the world is waiting for you.
I'm just really disappointed
And-
to have Wonder Woman in the fucking Superman versus Batman movie.
How
I believe it's Batman versus Super. They don't have a title for it.
How do you say it?
They said they
I
have
mean,
a title.
how do you say her name? I can only think of it like Eldrick tongue is like Godot,
Godot.
Godot,
It's Gal Gadot.
Godot.
Could be Godot.
I think it's Godot though. I think I've heard it's
Probably
said that
Godot,
way.
yeah.
No, it sounds like I'm fucking speaking a dark curse and trying to transform.
It's an
something.
odd name.
Like you're speaking the black tongue.
What? Okay, so you don't want Wonder Woman in the movie? So you're just disappointed with
I
that?
like the fact that they had a Superman Batman movie is one thing, but they're throwing Wonder Woman in there. Are they gonna throw like fucking Flash and Green Lantern in there as well?
They've already said that Flash is going to be in it. I thought they already said that.
It does
Flash...
seem like that. You know what? To me, right now,
Look, eventually they'll
Hold
just
on.
change the name to Justice League.
Let's
I think
look
we
at
all
that
know
fucking
that
face
this-
for a second.
I'm trying not to. It
Yeah.
seems what they're doing right now is moving too fast, too.
Furiously.
It's not what I was gonna say.
That'll be cut.
Still too upset by
Leave it.
this to actually have a reaction to
It
that.
seems like they're trying to escalate. Like what we always said, or at least I always said about with the Marvel DC movieverse stuff is DC's been a little step behind. Marvel
DC's
really,
just trying to catch up.
right. Marvel really hit their stride with their build up to Avengers, and DC wants to do the same thing. And it seems like they're moving too fast, too recklessly.
I thought you were going to say it again.
I wasn't trying to say furious.
Okay. Anyway,
laughing.
But they're pushing it too quickly.
no, they are.
They're not letting it brew, because I mean, granted, all they've given us for, like the more, like, not counting the Batman stuff, which you can't, because it doesn't really count the Batman. We've had a subpar Superman movie, and
I liked it. I thought it was a good movie.
well, we had a,
It wasn't
Are you
perfect,
talking
but-
about Superman Returns?
Yeah, Man of
no,
Steel.
Man of Steel. We
Man
had
of Steel.
we had
Superman Returns is subpar.
oh,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Man of Steel definitely had its problems.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we have that, and then all we have besides that is what, the Green Lantern movie? Do we even want to talk about that?
I don't think they're gonna use that.
Which they won't. So we're basing this whole DC thing off of one fucking movie.
It's
and
true.
maybe some CW television.
Look, I'm not saying. Yeah, we don't know about that either. I'm not saying that it can't be good Or
No,
that it
I'm
won't
not saying
be
that
good.
either. I'm just saying they're.
But I mean,
they're
it's
just
I'm
they're really
saying that.
forcing it.
even though he's never seen it. But
Yeah.
it's you can be worried about it. I think it's definitely understandable that people are worried
Yeah.
about it, right? Like the amount of
Shit they're putting in.
amount of characters, right?
You know, I said from the get-go when they talked about this that nothing good could come from this.
What do we think about Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman?
I have no idea who she is.
Like,
Because
you
you never
said-
saw. Well, you
like-
thought you said you saw Fast 6 though, or
Nope.
is that 5? Saw 5?
I saw 4 or 5, maybe. I don't know.
Was she in 4?
She was in 5.
5
She was in 4.
when she-
4
she was in
was
6 too, but
4 was when they were looking for Libby's killer.
Don't ask me to tell you which character.
Letty.
Letty, sorry. 5 is when they went to South America.
Yeah,
and
that's when she came in.
And that's when they got her,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't. I haven't
But I'm gonna have to be behind you when you
Wait,
said that she really
are
has
you
bulked
sure?
up. Yeah, I'm definitely sure.
no,
That's
I
what
think
The
she
Rock,
was in
right?
4. Wasn't she with what was the villain in 4?
All right, let's stop getting
That was a
so
different guy.
furious
That was
over Fast and the
I think that was a
Furious
different person.
No, she was
movie
with
plots.
She was in 5 and 6, and she wasn't in 4.
because she was supposed to be Vin Diesel's love interest in 4, right?
Do I have to pick up my
And then
phone?
they found out Letty was dead. Do you think she'll make a good Wonder Woman? Do you think that the casting is good? That's what I'm trying to say. You have not much opinion because you don't.
Well,
I
really
have
like
no
you
idea
said,
what
she
she
needs
is.
to bulk up.
Yeah, I think if she bulks up, she could.
Up.
Well, because she's very skinny. All right, if you look at Fast and Furious movies, she's very skinny. She's taller, so at least there's that. But she's very skinny. And
She doesn't
Wonder
need to
Woman-
be mannish.
No, I don't want
Just
bodybuilder.
at least that like she doesn't look like she's from Ethiopia and has like an eating disorder in the sense of she never has food.
It's
Okay.
literally a disorder. That's starvation.
But I don't want a bodybuilder.
No, yeah.
Ew.
I need to look at her and
No.
go like she can seriously kick some ass. Not
Yeah,
that
I
she's
wanna
seen
know
those movies, and I know
Toned.
she can kick
You're
some
looking
ass.
for toned,
But in
not-
general, yeah, tone.
Yeah.
bulky.
Yeah.
Toned.
She needs to look like she can handle herself. In
Yeah.
the battles and fights and whatever. We don't even know how much she's going to be in it, really.
Well, she got
so
a real Greek.
she could just have a cameo or in it towards the end or whatever they end up doing. So we don't really know.
I'm so worried. I'm seeing this almost like when they add the Wonder Woman in. I started thinking of Red Sun. I was thinking like, how could that fucking work? And just Red Sun popped in my mind. I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
They're not doing Red Sun.
They're not gonna do. They should, but
Well, in a separate movie, sure.
like fucking like
But
Ben
not in the
Affleck
series
as
of-
that Batman. I actually would accept that a bit more.
I don't know if Ben Affleck can pull off a Russian accent, but
I think you could try, and I think
Try.
I would be interested to see what he could do.
you're more into Ben Affleck as Batman in Red Sun than you are.
Yeah, yeah, I am.
That's weird.
Red
That's
Sun was
really weird.
fucking amazing. I
Yeah,
think
Red Sun was
I
amazing,
think
but-
that Ben Affleck could do it.
Okay, that's cool that you have such faith in Ben Affleck.
Only right
It's
there.
weird, it's
Not
weird.
in this one. Not in this one.
Bryan Singer announced this week that X-Men Days of Future Past is not going to be the only X-Men thing for now. They are going to go right into X-Men Apocalypse in May 27th, 2016. And we're guessing it'll be the Age of Apocalypse storyline. I mean, what else would it be?
Really, X-Men Apocalypse?
Yeah, X-Men
Why?
Apocalypse.
Why? What are,
I
what, do we know what
that's
they're
Bryan
doing?
Singer.
Are they doing Age of Apocalypse? Or are they doing just a plot line of Apocalypse? 'Cause,
I would guess it's Age of Apocalypse. I think that's what everyone
I mean, I
expects.
suppose it depends on how the next movie ends.
Yeah,
But
but
they're kind of long shot in Apocalypse already.
I'll tell you what I kind of like about this.
What do you kind of like about it?
They're basically, for the most part, just taking comic storylines and making them into movies. They're not making up their own weird, bizarre, convoluted stories. They're just taking the convoluted and weird comic book stories. It's like the X-Men cartoon. The X-Men cartoon was awesome. But one of the reasons why it was awesome was because they mainly just did the comic book stories for the most part.
The problem
Right?
with this is they always movie twist it. I mean, look at even the last three actually, no, Last Stand doesn't count at all. But the first two were all sort of based. Actually, not even the first one.
No, they weren't.
The second X-Men movie was at least based on the mutant cure plot thing. Or
Yeah,
was that
yeah.
The third one.
No, that's the second one.
Well,
No, the third one had Mutant Cure.
Yeah, the third
The
one.
second one was about Wolverine
Stryker.
finding, Stryker
And-
and
That
finding.
was the second one that had Stryker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was afraid you were really bringing.
Brian
up the
Cox Stryker.
but yeah, even that was part of. But they just fucked it up. They really fucked it up. And the
Well,
third,
yeah,
what,
the
the second
third
one?
one they fucked it all
the
up.
third one fucked
The
it.
third
up.
second
one
one
fucked
fucked it up.
The second one, well, took an
Better than the
established.
first one.
Yeah, but the second one took an established plot and still didn't really stick to it and
True.
altered it.
I
enough
think
that
that's
it
what they're
was
doing
stupid.
with Days of Future Past, though, is they're fixing
I don't know.
I'm hoping.
They're bringing time
They're
travel
bringing
into it.
back Cyclops. They're bringing back.
Are
Jean
they?
Grey. That's
Do
what
we
I'm-
have? Do we
No,
have?
no, we don't know
looking
that. We don't know that.
That's what I'm looking at. They're bringing those.
Oh,
characters
okay.
back.
So it's
Yeah,
conjecture.
yeah.
But as far as I haven't
Conjecture,
seen,
yeah.
I
That's
haven't
what I'm
seen
saying,
any
though.
poop clops in any
No,
promotional
yeah, I know.
material until I have my poop clops.
Of course
back.
they're not gonna do that.
I don't care.
No.
But
You just said they were.
No, they're not
No,
gonna
he's
put
saying
promotional
things-
material. Of course not.
No, they're not.
Oh, you
want
think
me
they're
to
gonna bring my poop clops
twist? They brought poop clops and Jean Grey back. That's how they're gonna want to play this.
It won't. It'll be like the end. Will be them realizing they're still
Yeah.
alive because of what they changed in the past. That's my guess.
back? Till I get my poop
That's
clops
my
back.
guess.
I don't
I
care.
Things that they changed. Wolverine, of course, lived for like at least 200 years.
You mean Wolverine, the only X-Men that's in the team? Seriously, the X-Men movies have just been Wolverine. Even X-Men movies
Well,
are
he's the
Wolverine
most popular
movies.
character. I know, but
They've
centered around him. Yeah.
they center around him too much. To the point
True.
where they killed.
Well, they
Poop
tried to center around
I was
fucking
more mad
Halle
that they-
Berry, and they killed Professor Xavier.
I was more mad they
Cyclops,
killed
and Jean
Professor
Grey.
X.
So
I was more mad they
And,
killed Professor X.
and that was a lot of from what I heard Hollywood stuff of like Halle Berry wanted a bigger role and all
well,
that shit.
fuck her.
Which is it? That's what I think. I think they caved too much to actor demand.
I was saying that when I was
Yeah,
saying,
well,
ruined the plot.
here's what I
which
said.
is what I think you expect this movie to redo a lot of the stuff.
You
and-
know what though? I wouldn't be worried about that so much now because Halle Berry is not a big name anymore.
She is.
So
here's
she
what I
has
said
no
earlier.
pull in
Fine,
that anymore.
we'll make
So-
you a big character, but here's what you have to do: you have to shave your head, no mohawk. It's gonna happen.
I hope she shaves her head no more.
That'd be sweet. I don't.
That part.
I really don't think she will, but it would be.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, that would make
But no,
it cool. But
I
no.
still haven't seen First Class, which I probably should at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Movie.
First Class. It's really good.
I've always heard it was good. I expect things from this movie that I don't know what I expect. I just want it to.
I
just want it to be
Magneto-
better than the original trilogy of the movies that came out.
Magneto's character was amazing in like fucking First Class. I loved it.
Yeah.
And
I've
Kevin
heard
Bacon
that.
is
Fassbender
Kevin
is
Bacon.
awesome.
So
Kevin
yeah.
Bacon can turn invisible,
Well,
right?
All right, but
No, he's
I'm kind of
The
worried.
Hollow Man.
I'm kind of worried about Bryan Singer coming back.
shit. Who's he playing?
What has Bryan Singer done since X-Men 2 that's really been great? Superman Returns.
So what?
I never.
No, you said great.
No, I'm saying not Superman Returns. I never saw Jack the Giant Slayer or whatever because it didn't look very good.
I've heard
So-
that was
Has Beast
good,
in it.
but I didn't see it.
Well, the guy who played Beast.
Yeah. So
I'll
I don't
see
know.
whatever.
I hope Bryan Singer will just come back. and
I'm
be
not
good.
gonna weigh this too much on Bryan Singer right now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's more. I'm more worried about who's writing it than who's directing it. I mean, like I feel that.
But right now, from
if the writing's good enough, he could.
the
play
trailers
it
have
off.
not really sold me.
Well,
Yeah.
there's really only been like the one.
Well,
trailer.
okay, the trailer then. The
Yeah.
trailer I've seen so far doesn't really sell me on what it is. Because, I mean, it is the Days of the Future, or what do they call it? Days of Future
Days
Past?
of Future
Yeah.
Past.
Days of Future
Days of
Past.
the Future Past, which...
If they don't have Kitty Pryde in it, they're fucking.
They are. Ellen Page has already announced as being.
I'll just
in the
say.
movie.
Just in general.
it's just lining up to the comic book storyline and what the... Well, even what the cartoon did. It just seems like they're deviating on that. I'm a little worried. I can understand what they're trying to do. What you said, it looks like they're trying to fix all the mistakes of the previous movies. It's just... That's a huge fucking pile to
It
shovel
is.
right
See,
now.
this is the thing. You find that worrying. I'm just finding this exciting and interesting. Really, I'm curious to see what the fuck they're gonna do, just from what I know can happen, or what can happen in general.
But I've also seen The Last Stand, which means I know my expectations can get
I've
ass
seen, yeah.
raped right in the childhood tear duct. Because that's what they do. That's what they did with that movie. So,
True.
I mean, there's plenty of things they could do, and I know that you could just follow straight, even like the fringe elements of the X-Men storyline and make a coherent thing. And what Last Stand did was just like, nope, just picking shit up
True.
and like,
True.
Omega Red's got super hearing.
True, but
Wolverine just stabs him with the super hearing.
I found
ears, and
X-
it's just so-
I hated it as much as you did.
There's
Don't get me
so
wrong.
much stupid that they did
But
with that
First
movie.
Class really redeemed a bit of it for me.
And see, since I
And
haven't
I'm
seen
kind
that,
of hoping
I guess
that's
why I'm
some
a little
sort of
bit
the
more-
elements
Yeah.
you're gonna throw into it that's
You need to
really
see
gonna
First
fix
Class.
I will try to
Yeah.
watch First Class before. I'll definitely have
Obviously,
time.
before
Yeah.
it comes out.
But
That's the elements I really think is
Uh,
gonna really help this a bit.
Related to that story, Simon Kinberg is announced as being basically the head of Fox's Marvel universe, I guess, between Fantastic Four and X-Men and all that kind of stuff. And he's basically going to be the Kevin Feige that he, at Marvel Studios, but he's going to be that for Fox. But basically, Days of Future Past leading into X-Men Apocalypse is kind of the beginning of this world building that Fox is doing with Simon Kinberg. So, what do we think about that? Do we like the fact that Fox is trying to make their
No.
own Marvel universe, where they're trying to like
I would-
combine
no,
them?
I was-
and
That scares me.
Does Fox have? Are they doing the Fantastic Four too?
they're going to do a Fantastic Four remake. Yeah,
And they have
the
Spider.
Josh Trank remake, I would guess.
Who
No,
does?
they don't have Spider-Man. Sony has Spider-Man.
So they just have Fantastic Four and X-Men.
And X-Men, yep.
See, I kind of wish everything would be under Marvel.
Oh no, sure.
Yeah.
I think ideally we all
Everyone
do.
does.
But
Yeah, I don't really agree with them trying to make their own Marvel movie verse when we already have like the main. We already have Marvel pioneering their own thing, and they've done it so well.
but everyone's trying to do that.
But now we
It
have
gives
like
you more idea
so,
they could do something
because
like
what
a
are they going to
yeah.
do like an X-Men Fantastic Four movie? Like I don't see that happening.
I think it's going to be more of Fantastic Four could pop up in an X-Men movie, or X-Men could pop up in a
But that's not
Fantastic
going to
Four
be
movie.
as impactful.
I don't
as
think
the
those
whole-
groups
Well,
combine together that well either.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
They've,
really.
they've met up before, but
Sure,
yes,
but
It's more like a.
it's not like you're not going to put people in the seats for
It's
an
not the-
X-Men
yeah.
Fantastic
It's
Four.
more of you want to see an event where they can combine all them like Civil War or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
not like an
Where
X-Men
you
Avengers.
see Reed Richards over
But
there
you're missing
and Charles
the key,
Xavier
all the
over
key
here.
players are at actual
Yeah.
Marvel Prime,
Yeah,
which means
yeah.
you're going to be.
Yeah.
There's so many holes. I just think maybe
Except for Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, who's under just Spider-Man
Sony.
is all they got.
They're doing a good
Sony
job
is
now.
all they
though.
have is
Sony has
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah.
I
Maybe
mean,
they make a deal.
They're really doing good with Spider-Man, but you know.
Yeah. They could possibly make a deal for Spider-Man to join.
Well, that's what Sony wants to do also, is make a universe out of Spider-Man.
What would they put in it?
They've talked about doing a Black Cat spin-off maybe, or
God no.
anything like that. Like just
Hey,
doing
remember
spin-offs.
Catwoman with Halle Berry?
Well, they've always talked about doing a Venom
Throw the
spin-off
Scarlet
for years,
Spider in
so-
there, or just.
Yeah, or Scarlet Spider, or
Scary.
Spider-Man 2099. Like they've talked about.
Oh man.
They've talked about this stuff. I'm not saying
They
should.
can talk all
or
they
it's-
want. Those aren't good ideas.
Well, I'm just saying everyone now is trying to make their own
That's
universe. And I mean,
Movies of
I just want to see.
we'll see how they turn out.
I want
guess.
to see
mean,
Spider-Man join the Avengers.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think we're closer to that than anything else, though. Like any of the other things joining, and I think it's just because I thought I heard that Sony and Marvel tried working together on Avengers and Amazing Spider-Man. Like I thought they were gonna have Avengers Tower and the Skyline and Amazing Spider-Man, and I thought I heard that in the Avengers Skyline was gonna be Oscorp. The Oscorp.
See, that'd be sweet.
So
Yeah.
they've
If
already.
they can at least form a
They
partnership.
ended up not doing it, but they've talked about it.
I
They've at
would
least sat
love
down
if
and
they-
said, "Hey, maybe we should do this."
Yeah, they just made a
That'd be-
partnership about the whole thing.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I think at some point, if they want to keep Avengers fresh down the line,
an agreement.
that they're gonna. I think a good way to do that is to work with Sony and
Well,
do a
yeah.
sort
I
of-
mean, they can't
do
just
a sort of partnership.
They can't just do sequels of all the individuals and then do another Avenger movies like every 2 years. I mean, that's gonna get stale.
And they always talk about doing Civil War, and if you're gonna do Civil War, it's gonna be pretty hard without Spider-Man.
You need Spider.
So
You can pass on the X-Men have always been pretty solid.
I think X-Men can be outside of
Yeah.
X-Men can be,
Avengers.
they're pretty
They
solid.
were pretty much outsiders in the like a lot of.
Yeah. And a lot of
not
them
as much
yeah.
in recent Marvel, but still.
If you're gonna do X-Men versus Avengers,
yeah.
definitely you'll need the X-Men. But
Yeah.
I think X-Men in general, you can keep into their own separate.
If they ever do House
That's
of
fine.
M ever. is-
They never will. Never do
Yeah,
House of
they
M.
won't do House of M. Even though they're bringing in Scarlet Witch now, they won't.
House
But
of M gets
There's
pretty confusing.
the other problem with X-Men Avengers is because they both have Quicksilver in their movies, and they're both different actors and stuff. Like you can already tell that they have no idea to join together. Like they're just like, you do your own thing, we're doing ours. Drew Goddard this week was officially announced. It had been rumored before, but he was officially announced as the head writer and showrunner of the Daredevil television series that'll be on Netflix. Sometime next year, I believe, is when it'll be on. But whenever it comes on, sounds like it'll be awesome.
Daredevil Netflix series, really? We need Luke Cage.
Well, they are making Luke
Well,
Cage. They're
we're
making a
getting
bunch
that
of them.
We need that first.
Really?
They already did Daredevil. Move on to Luke Cage.
No, but look,
and then come back to him
Daredevil's the most well known of all those that they announced. So they want to bring
'Cause
people
what-
in with that, and
So
then
what do
bring
we?
them in.
What we have? Daredevil, Luke Cage, they're doing
Jessica Jones
and Iron Fist, right?
and Iron Fist.
Yeah, first, yeah.
Jessica Jones though. Jessica Jones is the one where I'm really like.
Yeah,
they
it's
just needed
like,
to
why
throw-
are we adding her?
They really just needed to throw.
Have
a
you
chick
read
in there.
Alias? I'm just asking a question because I haven't.
What
yet.
was her superhero
I
name?
always hear Alias is great, and if they're making Alias
What
into
was
a
her
TV
superhero
show,
name?
wait, I just like what I just said.
They're doing an Alias
is a
TV show.
Yeah, but if they do that, but just call it Jessica Jones.
No,
I've
I-
always heard that's a great
I can't
series.
remember what Jessica Jones. She was strong and she could fly, and she
She
eventually
shot something from her hands.
No,
I think.
she eventually had Luke Cage's baby, and
Yeah.
then she stopped superheroing.
Uh,
Like,
Well, she stopped before she had his baby.
well, yeah, when she got pregnant.
Well, yeah.
But it's like whenever I think of Jessica Jones, all I could think of was like back when Civil War started, which was like around like I think the first major Marvel event when I started reading comics again. She was already not superheroing and saving her baby, and now they're like suddenly making a series based off of her, and From what I remember, she didn't really do much, even when she was superhero.
If anything else, though, at least it's a superhero woman character.
Yeah, female.
Like, we don't really have that, especially in the Marvel universe.
you could get fucking...
They could Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman?
Well,
Jessica Drake.
I don't know
Captain
if they
Marvel.
I don't know if they
Miss
own...
Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
Miss Marvel would be the most likely.
Miss Marvel is like the most obvious female
They're not
hero.
choosing people who are actually in the Defenders anyway.
That is true.
Well, yeah, but...
Because they said they were going to do
building
a Defenders thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it's
we're
Doctor
Strange.
Silver Surfer, and Namor. At least the main characters.
Well...
None of them in the show.
Silver Surfer is probably owned by Fox because they've already done
difficult,
Silver Surfer.
okay. Then you got Doctor Strange and Namor.
Doctor Strange, Marvel wants to do a movie.
Okay,
So they're not
Namor.
interested in doing a TV show. Namor...
Namor's too badass and they're probably
Namor's technically a mutant, isn't he? So he could be owned by Fox.
The first mutant.
Is
First
Namor
mutant
a
is Namor.
Yeah.
The first mutant is Apocalypse.
Well, but he's
Okay.
a mutant, is what I'm saying.
The first
right?
mutant of the New Age, I guess.
So it could be owned by Fox. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah, it depends where all the rights are. It seemed when they said Defender movie and they threw out or Defender series and they threw out these 4 characters, I was like, really? And to be fair, I'd like to see either a Luke Cage. If you're gonna do Luke Cage and Iron Fist, do them in one. They're the heroes for hire.
Yeah, I think
do
that's
a
a good
singular
idea.
like. Don't do 4 separate shows. Especially just give me a buddy cop superhero.
They play
thing.
off each other well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't they just make them heroes for hire instead of calling them the Defenders?
They could have done. They could have done the Iron Fist.
So-
there you go. Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Misty Knight, heroes for hire. Done.
So, what about Drew Goddard doing it though?
They
Drew
want
Goddard.
more- they
Drew
want
Goddard
more-
is the guy at the Cabin in the Woods. He wrote and directed it, or co-wrote and directed it, and then he wrote Cloverfield.
I'm not worried
All
about
right,
that.
first,
But
Defenders
that's
had more
cool to
name
me.
recognition than Heroes for Hire, and that, actually, the guy seems like he'd be pretty good.
Where's
at stuff
Valkyrie?
like this.
But I mean, it depends because that's kind of a thing. Just because they're doing so much, a lot of the plot lines they grabbed from Marvel this term have always been like the Ultimate Universe Marvel shit.
That's true.
And the Defenders in the Ultimate Universe were just a bunch of assholes in costumes and Ant-Man.
But Drew Goddard, I have no problem with.
Yeah,
the
I
stuff
really
so
like Drew
far.
Goddard. So
I can't see how he can fuck this up.
Well,
So
I mean, he's using Daredevil, everyone's 5th or 6th favorite Superman.
I'm interested to see who's going to be Daredevil. I guess I'm interested to see who they can cast for any of these shows, really. Because I mean, it's not like
no names.
it's not like they're doing. I'm not necessarily. It depends on who they get. But this isn't like a prestigious network at this point. Yes, they have House of Cards and I guess Arrested Development and whatnot. Orange is the New Black. But this isn't like HBO. Like if HBO was doing these shows, that's a prestigious network and big names work with HBO.
They
could get.
Well, you're establishing prestigious with bankroll, I think. At this point.
No, also with amount of awards won. HBO wins every year the most awards.
I just Netflix has done really good for themselves. I mean, they don't.
So far, yes,
they don't have the budget.
Start. They're off to a good start.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good start.
Like
so.
they're gonna make it more like a hard, like more rated R.
I hope, but I mean, we don't know.
More
that.
like hardcore supervillain down the streets, kicking ass sort of deal.
I want a Moon Knight. I want a Moon Knight series and a Punisher series. I think could be really cool. In fact, you can
A
still
Punisher series,
cast.
yes. Moon Knight was just like a fucking That's Batman.
You can still cast.
It's a little
what's
bit
his
different.
name?
Well, actually, the way Moon Knight is right
It's
now.
not a fucking mooncopter, okay?
No, Moon Knight is totally not Batman anymore.
You can still cast Thomas Jane as a Punisher too. I mean, he did Hung for HBO, so he's willing to do TV. So I say bring Thomas Jane back and do an awesome Punisher series. That's dark and gritty and awesome, and that'd be amazing.
But it is interesting to see what their casting options or casting choices are.
Yeah,
for
I'm very
the
interested
coming
in that.
series, and
because so far their announced or rumored writers and showrunners are good people.
Yeah.
Like they're good, but people have done good stuff before. So.
But I mean, if you got a hammy fucking asshole, it's what do you got?
Yeah. Or
you can have the best rating squad in the world if you got fucking some asshole who's just gonna be like, I'm Daredevil, and I have these sticks. What is that gonna do?
Yeah, and they have to. I'm interested to see how they pull off him being blind too, like how they have his
Oh,
sight
yeah.
handled.
Oh my god, it's gonna be Ally McBeal, but at night he fights crime.
Like, are they gonna start from origin?
It'll be
or
Law and Order.
Like, are they gonna, like, are you?
There are
like,
two separate but equal parts. The
That's the thing.
superheroes that beat the crap out of people, and the lawyer who he secretly is and prosecutes them
That's
later.
one of those things I gotta wonder about. Like, where are they gonna start? Like, are they start from origin, or are they just gonna start in the middle and just like
Well,
eventually
these are
gonna
all-
have a flashback to origin sort of deal?
These are all questions we'll have when the show comes out in the future.
Yeah, we'll find that out.
Like Luke Cage got him from kind of his powers from a chemical.
And the post-present, you could say.
The post-present.
The upcoming Warcraft movie has been cast for the most part this week. It'll be Ben Foster, Travis Fimmel, Paula Patton, Toby Kebbell, Rob Kaczynski, and their final talks with Dominic Cooper to have him, I think, be the lead. But we don't know. Anyways, it's still going to be Duncan Jones, David Bowie's son, so it's going to be fucking awesome, hopefully.
So I hear Warcraft is losing people, monthly. Does anyone really care that the movie's finally coming out?
I do.
No.
Is it only because Duncan Jones
It's
is
only
involved?
because Duncan Jones... If Duncan Jones was announced as the, rewrite and then director, I don't know if I would care. But Duncan Jones hasn't let me down yet. And he's the son of David Bowie. So...
I'm not saying I'm not going to watch the movie. I'm just saying I think Blizzard... I can't even say it's their fault. It just seems like this is 4 years too late.
Well, no, they're not at their height of popularity. Although Hearthstone, aside from being an awesome game, is very popular. And that's technically Warcraft.
That is.
Yeah, so it's in that universe.
I guess it's just... It seems like this is kind of... Because this is something they've been
I know
talking
what you're
about
saying.
for years.
I know what you're saying.
For years. And now it just seems like it's finally like...
Well, remember Sam Raimi was going to do it.
And it just seems like now it's starting to come together, and now it's like... I know, World of Warcraft is losing...
I'd like to see what they can come up with.
But I think it could be really cool, and I also think that it doesn't necessarily... I think Warcraft is going to attract Warcraft fans, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be like... I think they're hoping to make it attract other people, like Lord of the Rings fans.
It's
stuff like
true.
That. I think they're just trying to make a fantasy epic. And they're just using this...
You're just going to see a lot of
bring
people
people in.
Honestly...
Well, maybe, I don't know.
And everyone can tell me I'm wrong later in the years when it finally happens, but I just see like a huge spirits within crash.
Really? I hope not.
I hope not, because I love Duncan Jones too, and I've loved everything he's done. It's just, to me, this seems like too little too late. I don't see this hitting the numbers they want.
I'm interested to see how well it does.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that's going to come down to how it looks when we see it.
That is true.
If it looks like
When
Lord
we
of
do
the
see
Rings-ish, but maybe a little darker, maybe a little,
I don't think it'll... See, it just seems to me this is cartoony. Like,
but it doesn't have the Lord of the Rings name. Like, it doesn't have years
Well,
of people
what has
reading
Duncan Jones done since then?
Moon. You almost said Moon when you said Dune.
Moon and
Moon, Source Code.
Source Code. All right, and
I don't remember anything else. I think that might be all he's done so far.
well, I'm just
He got shot out of David Bowie's
just saying.
Yeah.
Moon and Source Code weren't based on a book or anything like that. It's original scripts.
Yeah, the original stories.
And
as far as I know.
I figure that Warcraft at least has a basic sort of realm, and
I'm sure
he
there's
has to
books
play
for,
off of
whatever.
at least. So it's a new realm.
I assume
that
they're
he's
gonna.
dipping
Well, I
into.
assume they're gonna be. The movie will probably be about established plot and story that we've
Some
already.
things he may want to dip from.
Maybe
he
not.
may have problems with.
It's because what are they call? Are they just calling it Warcraft?
I think they're just calling it Warcraft. Because
So, I mean-
even saying World of Warcraft isn't that
Right.
popular. Because
I mean,
there
there-
also was Warcraft before.
There were
World of
3
Warcraft.
games of pretty interesting plot lines before we got to all the
It was a
online stuff.
wild movie.
And I mean,
But
all
it's
that
not.
stuff's all of it's interesting into like the game point of view, and it's just it'll be interesting to see where the movie starts, what plots they do. Are they doing something original? Are they sticking to something that's already established? I think
it's going to be very broad. I think
Yeah.
it's going to try to attract as many people as it can, not just Warcraft.
There is a
players.
lot of stuff that can happen in this movie. There's also a lot of stuff that can happen terribly in this movie. And it'll be interesting to see where it ends up at the end of when dust is settled, everything is gone.
Yeah,
kind of worried about
Duncan
that.
Jones stands upon the piles of his vanquished enemies, and we'll see what happens.
Did you guys see Dungeons and Dragons?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
Marlon
Jeremy
Wayans.
Irons and
Yeah.
Marlon Wayans.
Marlon Wayans.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
That's the worries I have about this movie.
We just
I
said
don't think
Marlon Wayans was in it.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, it had Jeremy Irons in it. to
Well,
make
yeah,
up
Jeremy
for
Irons
Marlon-
is a
Jeremy
great.
Irons is
make
terrible.
up for Marlon Wayans.
Yeah, but he
and
makes
was
bad
still
movies.
bad.
You're right.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, but he makes bad movies.
Yeah.
From time to time. So, I don't know, but I could have told. Looking at the Dungeons and Dragons movie, it didn't look
No.
good. I think this is gonna have more money put towards it. First of all, and second of all,
Yeah,
it's gonna have more effort in terms of like better writing.
Did you say the name of the king?
No.
I did.
That was Uwe
Twice.
That was
gonna be
horrible.
bold, so.
That had fucking Burt Reynolds in that movie.
Yeah,
Did
and
it
Ray
really?
Liotta.
Yes.
Oh my god.
He was the king.
Ray Liotta was an evil sorcerer.
I think.
It was
I
really
don't know.
fucking hilarious because
That's
it's Ray Liotta.
bad casting.
It's just like
I like Ray Liotta, but that's bad.
he's
casting.
just like, I'm gonna guess some magic. What do you got? What do you got?
Ray
Some magic?
Liotta,
I got some
Jason
magic right here.
Statham.
What is your magic? Tell you what, no.
What was in that?
You gotta flush the magic. They're on the door like, Ray,
That
you
brought
gotta
it,
flush the
uh,
magic.
What was her name? Lily Sobieski was actually in that movie, I think.
Really?
And Jason Statham as the
she
lead.
played-
Say that
yeah.
when you- yeah.
But since it was based on a video game and Huey was an idiot, and in the video game the character didn't have a name, but he was a farmer. So in the movie, his
They
name
call
was
him Farmer. Yeah.
That's classic Huey Bowl right there.
Yeah, that is. But
I still have worries.
so you're worried. I'm still hoping that this movie's gonna be.
It's gonna be
and
better
I-
than Huey Bowl movie.
I
obviously.
think it could be really awesome. I hope I'm right.
It
but
could
we'll wait
be.
and see, I guess.
And I'm hoping it is.
Well, it'll be our
I haven't seen a trailer.
It'll be Duncan
I haven't
Jones'
heard
first
the premise.
fantasy movie.
It'll be Duncan Jones' first like big budget
Fantasy crazy
movie.
fucking movie.
Yeah.
It'll be great. Or not.
Because even Source Code
this-
wasn't a huge budget. It was
Yeah.
a
This
modest
could be
budget.
amazing.
This could be amazing. So find out.
Cautiously optimistic.
That's all these news stories. I realize we're all like, well, hopefully it'll be good at the end. And I was like,
Fingers crossed.
And finally, MTV is going to be possibly doing a Shannara TV series with the pilot directed by Jon Favreau. I'm sure he'll produce it and all that kind of stuff like he does for Revolution. And it's based on the fantasy series of novels that are very popular and have been around for quite a long time. So speaking of fantasy stories being redone, this time in TV, the Shannara show. I've never read the books, Kid has never read the books, but there's someone here who has. He's looking very dour right now, and this is kind of basically going to be us handing this over to him now, and he's going to pick up the
So,
discussion here.
Josh, could you at least describe to us what Shannara is actually about, the story-wise?
Real quick.
All right.
Let's not go 20 minutes.
I'll try to do it quick. Shannara was basically he started it in the 70s, and the first book was basically just Lord of the Rings. It borrows very heavily from it. It's, two young people go on an adventure. They have to find the sword of Shannara, to defeat an evil guy, and they meet some other people. There's a dwarf, there's elves, and it's a really like a 700-page book and that stuff. And then they do some stuff, but ever since then it was based. And the important thing to do is the backdrop of all of this is the post-apocalyptic world. Like this all takes place in 1,000 years after our time right now, where World War III.
Really?
World War III basically happens. There's mutations. People that were buried underground become dwarves. Some people become trolls. Except for the elves and the fae and the magic and all that stuff. That's always been there. They were just hiding in our modern world. And he does a couple other book series that do that stuff. He's got one that's set in modern times where it deals with demons and magic. Another one where it takes where the demons finally take control and destroy the world. But this is
Sounds interesting.
yeah. This is where we start. Where we're starting at, which Jon Favreau and all that stuff. It's Favreau. I'm sorry.
Favreau.
It's taking place in the second book you wrote, which is the Elfstones, which is because Terry Brooks, who wrote the series, has always said that he's tried to sell it before. He's been trying to sell it for a long time, or there's always been talks, and it was always going to start with this book because it was the more popular, more interesting one, and after that it goes generations. There's a trilogy, then 4 books that take place 100 years after it, then another 3 books that place 80 years after it, and it's been going on. He still writes them to this day, and he does prequels. It's just been a long, engrossing series about magic in a world after the world has ended.
Okay.
I like it.
And it's a real. I grew up with it. It's always been a really interesting story in my book, and then to find out that MTV's handling it was basically just after years of him going, maybe one day we'll do something on TV or movies, Fox is interested, and maybe CBS, and then finally the last thing I hear is MTV is totally in with Jon Favreau. Shit.
It's not the Jon Favreau part.
It's not the Jon Favreau
Let's make that
because
clear.
Jon Favreau's done
Iron Man.
Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3.
No, he didn't do Iron Man.
Yeah, right there.
He's in it.
He's in it. But
He did Zathura. He did Elf. Elf's a great movie, and it has the dink.
So I mean, I'm not so upset about the Jon Favreau part. It's MTV. Why? What are you?
The MTV part.
Like I've read this book over and over again. I've read it since kid. There's no moment where you can have shirtless teens listening to fucking like Madonna or something. I don't know. What's
I'm hoping
Lady Gaga. There's no Lady Gaga moment in the book at all. It's a lot of people running around. It's Lord of the Rings. They're walking around in forests. They're adventuring.
You say it like Gollum. Forested.
There's like a creepy guy with a scythe ready to kill them. There's demons breaking through into the reality, and I'm like, where is there room for a shirtless teen to like stretch and like have like a rock montage? I don't know if MTV's trying to change what they're going to be doing with this, or if, like it's not Teen Wolf. It is not Teen Wolf.
I'm trying to remember if they announced any part of the cast, and I almost want to say they do, and I almost thought they were like teen stars from like other shows.
And that's fine because they're younger people. They're not like they're like 18, 19
I thought these
year old.
shows that they were on were not like high caliber shows. Like they were like CW other.
But like, so
shows.
the main character is like an 18, 19-year-old guy, and he does meet up with like a chick, and they do eventually fall in love. But that's like part of the story. Another part is like the old, like Gandalf character who's waging a war against the demons with the elf army and shit like that. And I'm like, how is that? That's not an MTV show. That's like epic fantasy battles against demons. And in the background, there's like these two shirtless kids apparently like flexing and having abs. And I'm like, what is? I don't know.
I mean, the obvious comparison here is it seems like MTV is trying to do their own Game of Thrones, but
this is not the series to do it with.
I kind of got a bad feeling they're going to try to do a sort of Game of Thrones meets True Blood sort of thing with Teen Wolf kind of all combined into this amalgamation of disappointment, I guess, probably.
Yeah.
At least that's the way I feel about it. I mean, it could be great, we don't know, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to be, like, based on what we know so far.
Well,
right?
and all we know so far is that MTV's heading it, and that's enough to make me go,
Yeah.
no. So
Maybe it won't turn out as terrible.
Yeah, maybe we'll be surprised.
Maybe this is a turning point for MTV where they actually are able to make real good shows in a sense.
Well, see, that's the only thing. Unless MTV's willing, unless they're trying at this point to change their network and
branch out
something else. Because I mean, if they're trying to put this series into the same sort of material they put out now, there is no way this is going to be good.
Do you worry this is kind of be like the Twilightification of?
Well, this is the thing. Until I see it,
I'm just thinking about what's popular on MTV, and I'm thinking about the movie awards. And movie awards are always just.
And here's the
Twilight
thing. I get where you're coming
Games,
from, and I can see why that's a worry. But to me, having read all the books and stuff like that, I can't have
You can't see it that way?
Because there's unless they really just take the source material and just fucking ruin all of it. Like X-Men Last Stand style. Unless they fucking do that shit to it, there's no way you could make it that movie unless you just bought the rights to use the characters and the names and did whatever you wanted to.
In which case, why not just make a...
And exactly, in which case, just why not...
Why ruin a perfectly good series?
Why buy the rights to a series that you're not going to even use the source material for? Just ruin your own original shit.
It's to
they're not
try to bring in those people.
But any of the people that are fans of this, you're not going to bring them in.
Yeah,
because I mean, it's been around since the 70s. It's been around for so long.
They're looking for name recognition is what they're looking for, though. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
It's name recognition, but no one's going to look at that name and go, oh yeah, that's totally what I've read. Because, I mean, if they make that sort of thing...
But they're looking at like Game of Thrones and the success that it has, and they're going, well, they just took a book series.
But Game of Thrones is still following Game of Thrones. They still have George R.R. Martin, the Gur.
Working on it.
The Gur is still there. I don't know if Brooks is going to have any say on this movie or the show.
I don't know if they
I'd like to think if he did, he'd be like, nope. And just the fact that it's on MTV right now says either he knows something that I don't, which I hope to God he does, or he's not involved at all.
Here's hoping that MTV's tired of their whole fucking teen bullshit, like Teen Mom and all that other.
Teen Mom, shut up.
Really? Are you?
I actually like
serious?
Catfish. Like I like watching that if it's.
No, I've seen
Catfish.
part.
I watch Teen Mom because I love seeing people that have ruined their lives.
I've seen part of that. I've seen part of Catfish. It looks just awful.
I watched the Catfish movie
the
years ago.
The last thing I actually watched on MTV that I actually watched like purposely is like fucking like they play the Jackass movies. That's about it. That's the only time I actually really watched.
That's not their audience at all
That's the only
anymore.
time I really watched it anymore.
But I mean, to be fair, this is all just some conjecture.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know.
We don't, and we certainly don't know for sure that they're going to be producing it, right? I mean, it was just
Well, this is a pilot, so they haven't like ordered the series or anything
Right.
yet. This is just they're gonna make a pilot and see how it turns out. And all that
I
kind of
understand.
stuff.
There's been like Looking Glass Wars. There's been what's another series? The King Killer Chronicle stuff. Rufus, Madison Zone. You know, there's been plenty of series book option stuff that's always been like, oh yeah, let's do this and do that, and then eventually just fizzles out. And sometimes it's for the best, you know. Sometimes we don't, just because we love a series doesn't mean we need another media immediately. Maybe things need to tone down. They almost did Looking Glass Wars like right after Alice in Wonderland with Johnny Depp, and that would have been the worst timing ever because that movie was not good.
Never saw it.
And it was
I
kind
never
of
saw it.
similar in tone.
Really, I read the first Looking Glass Wars book, so
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'm not saying that's one of my favorite, but I'm just.
I liked it, but
It was good. I'm not saying it's one of my favorite books because it's fucking.
I liked the Hatter M comic book more. With
I love Ben Templesmith.
Yeah, with Ben Templesmith drawing it though.
Dear Warren Ellis, if you could finish Fell. With Ben Templesmith. You know, within
That
my
would be
lifetime.
the best news on this show.
This is like the
It was
third or
like, oh, it's
fourth
coming out.
It's like the third or fourth request from you.
Yeah, I was gonna
Ben
make Fell,
Templesmith to
but
fucking
he's
finish
right
it.
though.
You know he can hear you.
But yeah.
If you
fucking
say Warren
watch
Ellis'
this-
name, he can hear you. Instantly
right,
from
though.
From his
Fell's
dark crystal
amazing.
that's on
Well,
his
fucking
walking
tag
stick.
Ben Templesmith in this shit then.
Ben Templesmith was getting. He
Tag
can
him.
hear you. Warren Ellis is the source.
Oh, somebody texting about me. What's this about?
So yeah, that's all I got for.
So yeah, like with basically all these stories, I guess what we're saying is, I guess we'll wait and see.
That's about it.
I hate wait and sees.
We
but
are
that's
lost
kinda
in
how
a
it
sea
is.
of uncertainty.
That's how news works, though, Kit. I mean, you get told things, but you really can't have a full opinion of something because you haven't seen it yet, regardless of how much you want to. You can't just be like, oh, this sucks, and then not see it and just assume it sucks. Because if somebody tells you it's awesome, you're going to be like, but it sucks.
That's
and
why
they're going to be like, have you seen it? And you're going to be no, and you're going to
probably one of the best
assholes,
reasons why it's good for you just to kind of like hear it and then just forget it right away and then until it fucking comes out.
Anyways, we hope you enjoyed this edition of No Huey Lewis, Just the News. Hopefully we'll do this more in the future. This was a big week for news. It's kind of why we decided to do one. We haven't done one in a while. Hopefully the format worked out. I don't know if it did, but, you know, if you're watching it this far, which you're probably not, as we always say, maybe you can tell us if it worked out or not. And I guess until then, well... Until then, listen to some Huey Lewis in the News.
To resist boredom.
Or yes, find your own way to resist boredom.
Which is Huey Lewis in the News.
Yeah, one way is to listen to some Huey Lewis in the News because it's awesome.
What's stupid?
He felt the need for speed's going to be the new Fast and the Furious. Aaron Paul's taking over. He's going to be the new Paul
Yeah, maybe
Walker.
they should just cast Aaron Paul in Fast 7.
God, they already have it for Need for Speed. They don't
I'm
need it
kidding.
for
That was a bad joke and uncalled for.
Don't cut it.
I will definitely cut it.
Well,
But it might be an Easter egg.
Sweet. No one ever makes it to the offensive Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Did you know the Dire Straits say faggot so much?
Nope.
I didn't realize that earlier until my mom told me.
They are the Sultans of Swing.
What? Oh, that.
No, but my mom was when I was visiting her in the hospital. She was like, people. She was really fucked up and on morphine. And
She's like Dire Straits.
she's like faggot. Like people are all upset about people saying faggot in songs, and the Dire Straits said faggot a lot. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, that faggot with the earrings. And I'm like, are you fucking? She's like, no, that Money for Nothing song. They say faggot all the time. And I'm like,
They
where,
do?
I'm like, what are you talking about? Because it didn't even register in my head. And then I had to look it up on lyric search, and fucking A, she was right.
It's a little faggot with an earring and a makeup. Yeah, buddy, that's his own hair. The little